announcement has been paid for by
the ENN Podcast.
He has a good energy, you guys.
Can you feel
Sport.
that excitement?
And also,
wearing the merchandise, wearing the hats.
Is what I'm seeing for real?
Chris Wild here live from Lincoln Financial.
I can't wait till this video's over so I can say his name anymore.
Music.
Wow.
Man, again, and I hate to do this again, but these are goofy.
What the hell? What is it? Whoa! What the hell?
And more.
What's his next book gonna be called?
I see that coming. Welcome back, everybody, or welcome to, if it's your first time, the ENN Podcast. I am professional wrestler Chris Wild, the Heart Killer, the Cinderella Man, the very tired and very sore and hurt Chris Wild after a great event in Federalsburg, Maryland, Friday night for Adrenaline Championship Wrestling. I made my return there, faced a young guy named Will Knox, who absolutely gave me all that I could handle. Maybe a little rib injury as well, but I did come out victorious there. And I open up with that because that is something super positive. What wasn't super positive was my last live feed, and actually my last sports podcast, and that was right after the Philadelphia Eagles lost to Tom Brady and the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and really the worst way possible. I mean, it was great getting there. We all said that. Nobody really thought that they were going to win. I mean, some guys did. I think we talked ourselves into it towards the end of the week. But we all said, hey, it's good if we just got there. This is bonus money. And then they went and they lost in the worst way possible, which is tons of more questions than we had to begin with. Questions about our defensive coordinator, about our defense, and I think the worst out of all of it is questions about our quarterback. Going into that game, I felt very, very confident about Jalen Hurts as the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Because, yes, I know that they played some real shitty teams. They had some real slow starts, but I was looking at Jalen Hurts and going, this is a kid that's 23 years old. He is younger than some of the guys coming out of the draft are. I mean, the guy has all the time in the world to become and to progress into a really good quarterback. I think we're very impatient here in Philadelphia. And just in the NFL in general, and rightfully so. We put out a lot of money for the product, and a lot of time it goes into this as well. So, of course, we don't want to wait around for a 23-year-old to be 26 or 25 and finally get it and be a good quarterback. I did see some, Jalen Hurts absolutely frustrated the shit out of me at times. And then there were other times where I just saw some real improvement from last year and some real spurts of what could be something great. The way that he runs the ball reminded me of Donovan McNabb, and I don't care what anybody says. The Donovan McNabb era here in Philadelphia was a very, very good time. We had a lot of winning seasons, a lot of winning games. Yes, we got the championships and lost. Yes, we threw up in a Super Bowl, but it was better than sitting here wondering if we're even going to get out of the first round of the playoffs or even get into a playoff game. So and what I do now is, and I'm watching the playoffs yesterday. Obviously, watching, this is the first weekend without Eagles football. Watching the playoffs yesterday and watching, and this is, I'm going to go into an argument that I had with my father after watching the Eagles game. But I think my argument, and I believe my argument became even better watching yesterday's games. And I watched the Eagles game, obviously, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And yes, Jalen was terrible. The offense was terrible. But we knew going into this season, the Philadelphia Eagles were a running football team. That's what they did. They ran the football. The most running Eagles team in history. Dominated the league in rushing. And they did it with Miles Sanders being injured for most of the year. They did it with guys like Jordan Howard, who didn't even know if he was going to play coming into this season, and Boston Scott, who's a great player, but not a leading rusher. And then, of course, our quarterback, Jalen Hurts, as well. And I believe that Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is one of the best to do it. Maybe the best defensive coordinator in the NFL, and he'll definitely, I think, get a head coaching gig this year. He took the run away from the Eagles and dared the Eagles to pass. And the Eagles aren't a passing team, and Jalen Hurts got exposed as needing a lot of work becoming a good passer. There was actually a clip from Mic'd Up where Todd Bowles, it was one of the defensive guys, I don't want to say it's Todd Bowles because I don't know for sure, was yelling at his defense, look, this guy can't read defenses. He can't read. He's going to give us a couple. And he did. He threw a couple interceptions. So for the defensive coordinators of other teams to see that Jalen Hurts can't read defenses yet, I think it's a very, very it's a very telling thing. But this is stuff that he can learn and improve on. Now, here's where I'm getting with this. Offense was terrible, but I think because the defense let Tom Brady run up and down the field whenever he wanted to, it took away the run. Because once they were down big, they had to pass. Sirianni, of course, being a rookie head coach, panicked, and it was pass, and just really exposing Jalen Hurts and the bad decisions there. My thing is, and in watching the games yesterday, so what I said was, I think this defense hurt the team more than the offense did. Throughout the year, the defense was great against bad football teams, great against Matt Glennon, great against Jake Fromm and Garrett Gilbert. Like they were good against teams like that. Trevor Siemian. But when they played the Pat Mahomes, when they played the Tom Brady's, they were not even average at some point. Even guys that were like Derek Carr completed like 90% of his passes against this defense. It's Derek Carr. Even guys that were just average, they made average quarterbacks look great. I didn't like how the cornerbacks played so far off of the wide receivers. I didn't like that there was hardly any pressure, and I understand a lot of that is personnel. I understand that I can't exactly bury Jonathan Gannon for that. And there's going to be a whole nother video on Jonathan Gannon, trust me, because I threw a party when Jim Schwartz was fired last year, because if you follow me, you know I was not a big Jim Schwartz guy. But Jonathan Gannon came in here and made me like scratch my head and wonder maybe getting rid of Jim Schwartz was not the best thing to do. So with all that being said, I'm watching the games yesterday, and obviously Cincinnati. I didn't get to watch too much of the Cincinnati-Tennessee game, but I know that through the highlights, good old Joseph Lee Burrow, 25-year-old. Jalen Hurts is younger than him. This guy has completely made the Cincinnati Bengals a contender. I mean, they're going into the AFC Championship game. They went into Tennessee and beat the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. Joseph Burrow, Joey Burrow, whatever you want to call him, the guy just has a swagger and a confidence about him. Jamar Chase, man, was I wrong with that? I said they should have drafted an offensive lineman, Penny Sewell, before Jamar Chase. He looks like just one of the best wide receivers in the game already. Those two together have been magical. They got a good run game with Joe Mixon. They got a couple other good receivers like T. Higgins. And I mean, it's just what Joe Burrow has brought to that team is almost priceless. At the same time, I was right about the offensive line because the kid got his ass whooped, 9 sacks yesterday, but he overcame that. So you look at that guy, you look at Joseph Burrow, and who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen in the AFC title game? Do they beat the Patriots? Listen to me. I've been programmed to that, guys. Do they beat the Kansas City Chiefs, or do they beat the Buffalo Bills, or do they get smoked by them? I don't know. That's for next week. But for right now, you look at Joe Burrow and you're like, man, that's a franchise quarterback. That's what we want here in Philadelphia. We don't want to have to wait and wonder about Jalen Hurts. We want that right now. Let's spend all of our first-round draft picks on getting a Russell Wilson in here, trying to lure Aaron Rodgers in here, Deshaun Watson, who hasn't played in over a year. Let's bring him in here because he's a franchise quarterback. But then the next game, and it made me think, like, how are we overrating this quarterback position? Are we overrating the franchise quarterback position? And the thing to me, and as Eagles fans and people that aren't Eagles fans watching this, or your Packer fans or 49er fans, you got to understand, here in Philadelphia, for whatever reason, we are obsessed with this position. Obsessed. And it's nuts that we're obsessed with this position, and myself included, because we won the freaking Super Bowl. We defeated Tom Brady, who threw for over 500 yards that day, with a backup quarterback in Nick Foles. We defeated the best defense in the league the week before 38-7 with Nick Foles, a backup quarterback. And yes, Carson Wentz got us there before he got hurt, which I could go in a whole nother video about Carson Wentz and how that injury really, really messed up his career. But here we are. We want a franchise quarterback. We're willing to give up all these first-round picks for these guys. I look at the San Francisco 49ers, and I look at the Green Bay Packers. And this is a 49er team that, guys, we could have beat this team if Nick Sirianni was a running football team going into that game, because there was 4th and goals where he wasn't running the ball. We all remember that. Again, I'm not going to get into that too much. But I look at this game, the 49ers and the Packers in Lambeau, freezing cold. You got a West Coast team who's been on the road for like 5 out of 6 weeks. Okay. Jimmy G comes in there and plays one of the worst games I've seen a quarterback play. I mean, the guy was as bad as Jalen was against Tampa. Maybe even worse, because there were some times, if it wasn't cold, there were times when the Packers are intercepting the balls that he was throwing. He was absolutely horrible, was Jimmy G. Did not win the game for the 49ers by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I think he probably made it a little bit tougher on his own team. And yet, the 49ers won without an offensive touchdown and without a defensive touchdown. The special teams absolutely balled out for them. So I wonder now, and I'm thinking, and I'm looking around, I'm like, is it that important to have a franchise quarterback, or is it just more important to have a great defense? Because the San Francisco 49er defense was awesome. They were awesome the week before that against the Dallas Cowboys. DeMeco Ryans, former Eagle, former Texan, who is heading up that squad or that program over there, and that defense has been great. I mean, it was watching the San Francisco 49er defense was like having a wet dream for me. Or maybe not that far, but it was great. It was watching. Yeah, no, please, guys. I know that's going to be cut up. No, watching the 49er defense wasn't like a wet dream. I'm not trying to get canceled here on YouTube, but it was awesome to watch as an Eagle fan. They were getting pressure on Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you barely heard from the cornerbacks because they were just doing their job. It was an awesome sight to see. And the Packers defense, for that matter, played a pretty damn good game as well. Shout out to Rasul Douglas, former Eagle. But what is, at the end of the day, Jimmy G's mistakes didn't kill the 49ers because the 49ers had a great defense. If the Philadelphia Eagles, or any team for that matter, have a defense that's playing on that level, how important is the quarterback position? And again, I'm bringing this up because, and we'll see what happens in Buffalo, in Kansas City today. I could be this whole theory could be thrown out with if Josh Allen has another great game like he had last week and Pat Mahomes does the same thing and the defenses don't do anything. I really am a defenses wins championships type of guy, and which is nuts because our Eagles won the Super Bowl with very little defense, but I just think it gives you a better shot. I don't think you need to go out and get. I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers, man. This is a guy that everybody wants. Everybody wants Aaron Rodgers on their football team. And granted, the guy's probably going to win his second MVP. He's absolutely awesome, but he's won one Super Bowl. That's it. One Super Bowl, and he choked yesterday. They're at home in Lambeau, raucous college-type atmosphere almost. And weather, and it looked like it was negative degrees. I don't know, but it was freaking cold out yesterday. Their environment after a bye week, after how many wins did they have, guys? 13? And he chokes. But Jimmy G, who is a bad QB, who I've seen some analysts saying maybe the Eagles should trade for Jimmy freaking G. Like, again, and I might look stupid if he wins the Super Bowl. I don't know. This is not a guy. This is, to me, and it's crazy because Jimmy G's been in a Super Bowl before, right? I'm not here to trash Jimmy Garoppolo, but I mean, there's a reason why the Niners drafted Trey Lance this year. And again, you watched that game yesterday and you're like, oh my God. Like if I was a 49er fan, I would be going absolutely insane right now. And I know his thumb was hurt. I get all this, but you get what I'm saying. Do you trade 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson, who also has one Super Bowl, who looked terrible this year? Do you trade 3-1s for Deshaun Watson, who his allegations, who knows if they're true or not? They might not be. If they're, let's say it is 100% lie of all the things that he's went through, and I'm not going to talk about it here. Go ahead and Google it if you want to, but he's in some hot shit. He didn't play at all last year. If they are all a lie, this is a guy who, again, hasn't played for a year. And I can't remember if he was even in a playoff game, but we're willing to give up all this stuff. We're willing to give up everything for these guys. Now, look, the key to me is hitting the lottery, literally hitting the lottery, and being able to draft a guy like Joe Burrow, because who knows? Joe Burrow who knows what his future is going to be. But I know when I look at these guys, and it drives me nuts with how the media clamors over some of these guys, because yes, they are great quarterbacks, but it's, like Drew Brees. Drew Brees won Super Bowl, man. Won Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers won Super Bowl. Russell Wilson's won Super Bowl. And we're willing to give up everything. To me, I'm rather, and again, like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm Jalen Hurts' biggest fan. That game, it sucked to watch that game, to see how off he was. And I know it's not all the time you get these assets. It's not all the time that you get, 3 first-round picks. But, man, would I rather just build this defense and please, Jonathan Gannon, please, Houston Texans or Denver Broncos, I am begging you to hire Jonathan Gannon. And maybe we get like a Vic Fangio in here. I know Baltimore parted ways with their defensive coordinator, and we get a good defensive coordinator in here. And then we build this nasty defense to where a guy like Jalen Hurts doesn't have to do much to win the game. I don't know. It's such a tough position to be in. It makes for a fun offseason. It makes for guys like me. It gives us material to talk about. But I just don't know. Watching yesterday's games, I'm like, how important is a franchise quarterback? And I know if you go through the Super Bowls, more awesome quarterbacks win Super Bowls than not. I mean, of course, you've got your Trent Dilfers. Guys, I love Nick Foles. I absolutely, if I had the balls, I would tattoo number 9 on the back of my thigh or something. But let's be honest, he's not an elite veteran, or he's not an elite franchise quarterback. He wins a Super Bowl. And it's just tough. Like, I don't know if you got to have the perfect storm. I don't know if having a franchise quarterback like an Aaron Rodgers or like a Russell Wilson just always puts you in the conversation year after year to be a Super Bowl favorite. I don't know. I mean, you look at, and again, they hated Dallas Cowboys. They paid Dak Prescott all this money, and he chokes in the playoffs. There's so many guys that are great quarterbacks that are sitting home watching the playoffs with like the rest of us this year. Derek Carr, I've heard guys want to trade for Derek Carr. He's sitting at home right now. Let's be honest here. And as everybody's gearing up to watch the games today, Tampa Bay with Tom Brady versus the Rams. You see what Tampa Bay did to us. Tom Brady's a GOAT, man. He is Tom Brady happens once in a lifetime. If he wins a Super Bowl this year, what will it be? His 7th Super Bowl, 8th Super Bowl win. I mean, that's something that you can't recreate. I don't think. I mean, he leaves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I don't know if Tampa Bay is even in the playoffs next year. And I get it; they have a good defense. So, kind of my argument again. Tampa Bay has? Maybe they are. Maybe whoever their quarterback is, maybe their defense is so good they don't need to. I don't know. It made me think. I thought it'd be a good topic to bring up here as I had a couple minutes. And what is an insane schedule for me lately, guys? It has been rough. Just trying to juggle so many different things. Obviously being a father and then being a wrestler and having a job that, pays my bills. And then trading. It's been rough. It has been rough. Tons of content coming too, guys. I don't know if you saw the Falling in Reverse zombified reaction video. I love that. I've gotten a lot of messages about Soprambros. When that will be back, it will be back soon. I promise you. Again, just myself and Zach Connor finding, we have some busy schedules and finding the time to do that together. Has been a little bit challenging, but we will definitely get it done. I've got a bunch of content to throw out there about the Eagles, including Jonathan Gannon possibly getting a head coaching gig. Who are his replacements? Free agents. Who do we want in here in Philadelphia? As we do have, unlike the Packers, we're in a pretty good situation cap-wise going into the year where we could throw some money at some guys. As this team, there's holes everywhere. And I think throughout the draft and the cap situation, I think it can be done. And the good thing about the NFL, I mean, it doesn't take forever to become a contending team. I go back to the 2016 Eagles that didn't make the playoffs. I think they were 7-9, and then the next year, they won. They're winning the Super Bowl, so it can happen. And Howie Roseman's been there. I think he can do it. But I don't know, leave your comments below. You know what? And again, whatever happens at the end of today, we'll see. What is more important, a franchise quarterback, or great defense? And what is a franchise quarterback, man? Because again, Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest to ever do it, won Super Bowl. He's out in the divisional round of the playoffs this year. What is it? Russell Wilson didn't even sniff the playoffs this year. Won Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson, never even in a championship game, sitting on the sidelines right now. Didn't play a whole year. These are guys that we want. These are franchise quarterbacks. But at the same time, we're not willing to give Jalen Hurts any time to progress. And I think this is a guy that has gotten better as the years have went by, right? I mean, from his time in Alabama to Oklahoma to last year, he's definitely better this year than he was last year. Am I high thinking that? I mean, you do worry about how he is in big games, even going back to college. He did get pulled from that championship game. And so far here in the pros, big time games, is that Jalen Hurts shows up very small. I go back to the Monday night game against the Cowboys. I go up to this playoff game. Can he learn how to read a defense? I mean, these are all pressing questions. And even though, and again, I'm going to kind of dissect this press conference too in another video that's now almost a week old, so you guys have probably heard it. But my take on it is kind of a little bit different. Howie Roseman says Jalen Hurts is the guy going into next year. I'm calling bullshit. And again, in another video, I'll state the reasons why I call bullshit on that. But I will, you know what? Fuck it. Or screw it. I'll give you guys one. If you remember last year, the whole Carson Wentz mess, Howie Roseman said, thinking about having Carson Wentz not on the team is like thinking about your hand losing some of its fingers. And with, what was it, a month, maybe month and a half, Carson Wentz straight to the Indianapolis Colts. So just because they say that now does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that Jalen Hurts will be the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles next year. And guys, as we are now almost reaching the 25-minute mark, like I said, I've got so much to do today. If you guys want to see me live, if you're on the East Coast, man, come up to some of these great events that I've got coming up. You can find all this information on my Twitter page at @TheChrisWild. But I'm going to be at 1CW Pro Wrestling in Houston, Delaware this Saturday night. Huge event going on there. And look, in today's climate, you don't know how many of these live shows that you're going to get to go to, because with the pandemic and things like this, I mean, it never would surprise me if things started getting shut down again. So with that, I always tell everybody, like, get it while you can. And that's what I'm doing as well. With that being said, guys, everybody, I hope this topic brought some question in your mind as well. And I'd love to see your answers in the comments section below. Also, if you feel like donating to this channel, because look, there's so much I want to do with this channel that I just don't have the equipment to do it. That takes some money. So you can, and I'm going to put this in here. Why not? All right. Cash App, $ Chris Wild Wrestling, or you go to patreon.com/The Sopran Bros. All donations are welcomed. And I'll definitely give you guys a shout out if you want to, if any donations are received. With that being said, guys, please stay safe, stay healthy, go Birds, and I'll see you later.